Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in again. We have Joan, is it Zehring? Am I pronouncing that correctly, Joan?
Zehring.
Zehring. Well, Joan's with us, and she's going to share today. This week, we are getting to know some of the members of Saddleback Church Laguna Woods, and to hear their stories and remember each other, and then just get excited about the time we're getting closer to the time we'll get back together. Joan, often we start, and we're going to today, with a verse. You chose a verse. Can you tell us that one?
It's, don't be anxious for anything, but in everything pray and ask the Lord to help you.
I love that. Don't be anxious for anything. You were sharing with me that you had to apply that verse right off the bat.
Right.
Because it can be a little nerve-wracking to be on the show.
I felt nervous about it, and then I felt excited about it after I let the Lord work with me.
And it's for His glory that we do this. You were telling me that you've walked with the Lord a long time, that it started when you were 5 years old.
I was staying with my grandmother, and my grandmother was real active in the Baptist church. And I was in the tub, and she was reading me Revelations, and she was telling me about how the streets of gold and pearl. And I said, "Grandma, I want that." She said, "Fine." So she led me to the Lord, and then
you were in the bathtub?
Yep.
I gotta say, Joan, I've been doing this a long time, and not just this show, but I think that's my first bathtub story I've ever heard. You could have been baptized right then.
Oh yeah, and that was one thing. My parents, when I told them, they wouldn't let me be baptized. They said, "You can't be baptized until you're an adult." And I said,
because they didn't think that your faith probably was real.
Well, no, they've been hurt by the church. I guess my grandfather on my mother's side was Catholic, and when his brother was drowned, the church wouldn't bury him. So they were hurt by the church, kind of a black sheep of our family. I mean, we had a lot of Baptist ministers in the family, but he was not, my parents were not Christian. But before they died, they came to the Lord.
Oh, I love hearing that. And that was true of my mom, too. So you were a follower earlier, but tell us the story of your life, or at least spiritually speaking.
Well, I guess Grandma gave me some stuff for the neighborhood kids, so I started teaching the neighborhood kids Bible studies.
Good for
I was
you.
young. And I used to walk to church by myself. And then as I grew up, when I became older, I'll jump to that, in about my 20s, I went into this Methodist church in Long Beach, and I said, I want to be baptized.
Because you were growing up in this area. I consider Long Beach this area, but
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And so the minister, Owen Gear, baptized me, and he was so surprised at me, and I cried. I was so excited. And so he took me under his wing, and I started teaching at their church. And then they sent me to Japan on my first mission trip, and that was fantastic. It was really great. And then after Japan, I ended up going to Brazil through St. Andrew's Church. And then,
is that right?
Yeah, and then I've been to Costa Rica, and of course I went down to Mexico a lot of times, Ensenada, Tijuana, and the Tehuacan Indians in southern Mexico.
Like what? When you went to these, which is really, when you go on these mission trips, as you call, you're doing it because you believe the Lord would have you go and help out other people. What did you actually do on some of these?
Well, the one in Japan, we went all the way through Japan and talked about the Lord, and we met the Hiroshima Maidens. That was after the bombing of the atomic bomb, and it was really sad. And we talked with them, and
What are the Hiroshima?
When they had the atomic bomb, we dropped the atomic bomb in
Right,
Japan.
right.
They were all sterilized. They couldn't have babies or anything and of course they didn't love that.
No, of course not.
So that was
And
really
I only ask that because I've never heard that term actually.
Oh, okay.
But good for you. That they are people that totally needed hope. Well, everyone needs hope and they need the Lord, but they certainly, what an
I had an
experience.
interesting experience there. I got sick when we got to Tokyo. And so our team minister told me, he says, well, you stay here in Tokyo. We're going to go on up to the mission field in Sapporo. And he says, and then he told him to send me home because I was that sick. And so where I was staying, the guy said, okay. So he had this lady come in, walked on my back and massaged me. The next day I was fine.
No way.
And then I went up to the mission field.
That is an amazing story because the Lord wanted you to get to where you were going.
Yeah, and I worked with children there. It was great.
What a blessing. And I've never had anyone walk on my back.
There was some kind of massage type thing that they do, and it was wonderful. I've loved massages ever since.
That is a great side story.
And then I've learned to build. We build buildings, and we've just done a lot of things on a lot of different missions. I've been to Alaska and Hawaii.
Before I was an active follower of Christ, I had so many people say to me, well, I wouldn't want to be a Christian. It's so boring. You're not allowed to do anything. And I actually believed that for a while. And that has not been my experience at all. My experience, of course, I've had the privilege of being all over the world myself. It's been the exciting, those trips for you, I'm sure they were highlights.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lord has blessed me my whole life. He's done lots of things with me. And
it's not boring. It's fulfilling.
One of the things I really liked a lot in my older age was I worked with homeless and for about 10 years through self-help interfaith program. And the homeless that I had, like they would stay with us so many days until they got better. Oh. They stayed overnight and I stayed with them. And the people came and fed them and stuff like that. And then every morning they had to go out and look for a job. And I helped them with resumes and so forth. And about a third of them got off the streets.
That is awesome, Joan.
It was great. And, they were so nice. I had a guy that had graduated from Stanford. I mean, he had all kinds of people.
And then through circumstances, he found himself in that position.
Yeah, I think he was on meds, got into drugs and stuff like that.
Well, the thing, I know that we started with, be not anxious about anything, and that's a great verse, and I hope that blesses many of you who are watching. But as we've talked, I think that you pick up that Joan, and I'll say myself, we've been blessed by being involved in Christian ministry, and I know that it's a little bit harder because we're not meeting right now for worship, but the church is still active and still going, and there are lots of ministries you can do. If you are interested in being of service to other people through the church, would you write at the email that's below us or call the church office, and that number is below us, because it is so fulfilling to actually serve the Lord. And that's where I feel this show went, Joan.
The good thing about my whole life is that I've had the Holy Spirit, and he takes care of me all the time. I mean, I never feel lonely. I never feel bad. And I'm a single person. And the Lord has blessed me with so many things, and he loves us. And if you don't know the Lord, well, you need to.
Your words are awesome and encouraging to us. We got to go. Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow. Beautiful day. It's wonderful. This is the day that the Lord